just always such a gift to be here, to share my practice with you, to share your practice with me. I just cherish this exchange of spiritual energy and breath and Torah that unfolds across time and space, thanks to IJS. So many, many thanks. So let's just begin by sitting. You can make yourself comfortable with any support that feels nurturing and necessary for you. And your eyes can be open or closed or anywhere in between. This is a moment, a very auspicious moment on the cusp of Shabbat, only days before Rosh Hashanah, to reconnect with yourself, with your body, with your spirit. Take a moment to stretch and move, just so you have a little bit more space in your body for breath. Maybe create some space in the back, in the neck, in the jaw, so that the breath can be fully dimensional, so that it can move with ease throughout the body. And when you feel called into this practice of stillness, feel yourself plugging into whatever is supporting you. The cushion, chair, the ground itself, the divine witness. Feel the way in which gravity roots you down, and at the same time, the breath allows you to rise. I invite you to feel yourself anchored, grounded, and held. I invite you to take in a deep inhalation, and then exhale, let it go. Do that a few more times, breathing in and out. This steady stream of breath carries us into the deeper places inside. And it reminds us that even with all the swirling in and around us, there is a place inside, a place we can all access that is steady and stable. And like our breath, our ruach, the winds will blow, but we can find practice. We can practice finding steady ground here, so that we too can bend and flow, all the while remaining connected to our roots. So just take another moment to sense yourself being rooted here by the structure of your own body, by the earth, by all those who are gathered here. And like the Torah says, by all those who may not be here, but whose hands we feel on our backs. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes if you close them. So I want to situate us a little bit before we sit for a longer chunk of time. We are just a couple of days before Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the new year. And I've always thought it a little bit odd that there's no name for the Shabbat that precedes Rosh Hashanah. So we know that the great Shabbat before Pesach, Passover, is Shabbat Hagadol. And the Shabbat before Purim is Shabbat Zachor. Shabbat before Tisha B'Av is Shabbat Chazon. And of course, the Shabbat before Yom Kippur, which is fast approaching, is Shabbat Shuvah. But this Rosh Hashanah, this moment in time, it seems to be business as usual. It doesn't have a special name, nothing super obvious that points to what's to come, except for our Torah reading. Our Torah reading opens, Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohecha. You stand today, all of you, before Adonai, your God. And I feel like that is such a perfect intro for what's about to happen. Those clear words reminding us as we prepare for Rosh Hashanah that we are here, standing at attention before the Holy One, all of us, all of us. So let's actually take a look at the text very briefly. Thank you, Natalie. Great. So we have this opening reminder, really. You stand this day, all of you, atem nitzavim, before your God, your tribal heads, your elders, your officials, every householder in Israel, your children, your wives, even the stranger within your camp, from woodchopper to water drawer, to enter into the covenant of your God, Havayah, who is concluding with you this day with its sanctions. Okay, I'm just going to skip to the end here. I make this covenant not with you alone, but with those who are standing here with us today before God and with those who are not here with us today. So we have this declaration, and it's a radically inclusive one at that all of us, past and present, belong. We all belong, and we're standing here together, ready to be in sacred relationship with this covenant, with our ancestors, with the Holy One, or to renew that covenant. And I really want to invite us to place our attention on this one word, nitzavim, meaning standing. It's the name of our Torah portion. And note that it is not the typical word that we often see for standing. It's not omdim. We think about the word la'amod, perhaps most frequently when we talk about the Amidah, our standing silent prayer. So this word, which references standing, is different. And some of our medieval commentators suggest that the difference with this word nitzavim is that it's actually a quality of standing at attention. It's not just that we are standing in that sort of embodied shape, but even more, as we see in this commentary from the Dat Zikenim, a collection of French and German Tosafists from the 12th and 13th centuries, that you are standing at attention this day. And of course, this is so akin to our mindfulness practice, that we are grounding ourselves before God, that we are harnessing both our attention and our intention on the inside, even as we sort of stand physically on the outside. And I was once taught that nitzavim also sort of suggests a kind of rootedness, not just a standing sort of body on top of ground, but with a real quality of rooted connection. And I don't know about you, but for me, one of the gifts of meditation practice is that quality of finding steady ground in my body, in my breath, rooting myself in the present moment as I am. And that even as all of these cycles are changing and the world is turning and my thoughts are churning, I can still find a kind of embodied steadiness just by bringing my attention here, standing or sitting, as the case may be, in this place. And why does this feel especially important as we prepare to enter the Yamim Noraim up ahead? This time is dedicated to personal transformation. And I think that there is a Jewish precedent for the fact that we need to feel physically grounded for that metaphysical transformation to take place. And so I want to share just one more text that I hope will bring this point home. The mikvah, which is, of course, a place where Jews immerse for ritual transformation. I actually direct a mikvah in my community, and this is a time when many, many people are coming to immerse in preparation for the holidays. But a mikvah structure itself must be dug into the ground or built into a permanent building. So a bathtub or another kind of similar movable vessel cannot serve as a kosher mikvah, at least in the halachic sense. So even if that bathtub is permanently attached to the ground, and the Shulchan Aruch, our great law code, states that a mikvah is 40 seah, that's a rabbinic measurement of water. It must not be in a container. We do not immerse in containers. Okay, and that's why you'll never find a mikvah on the second floor of a building. It has to be flush with the earth itself. And similarly, when we immerse in the mikvah, it sanctifies a transition unfolding. And transitions and transformations necessitate grounding. It's that firm ground on the outside, and to a certain extent on the inside, I believe, that gives us the structure and the strength to do the work of turning and changing and realigning and growing. So let's ground ourselves in our practice. So find a good seat once again. And this is a shape in which the body can feel both relaxed and alert. Allow your eyes to close or your gaze to soften, and just take a couple of cleansing breaths. Feel your body, mutzav artza, like Jacob's ladder. That same word, same root as nitzavim, rooted in the earth. Like our people standing before God. Breathing in and breathing out. And invite you once again to feel your body starting to receive the support of the earth. Feel it underneath you and moving through you. Bringing your attention to that quality of standing or sitting on steady ground. And perhaps you can find a steadiness in your own breath. Maybe you find it in the way that your body is held by the chair. Maybe you feel it flowing up from the ground through your feet. Just take a moment to notice what you notice. What's it like to feel a kind of steadiness, even as the earth turns on its axis, even as our bodies make involuntary movements and adjustments? What is it like to feel a quality of steadiness on the inside that radiates out? Just keep breathing, noticing where you find your grounding. Your lungs breathing, the gentle sound of your own breath. Maybe in the knowing that we're all here today, each one of us in the midst of our own evolution and revolution, but united in our practice, in our quest for being at home in our own lives. So we'll continue for a few more minutes, just in silence, as we stand our ground, even as we sit. Just begin to deepen your breath. Just as you might lovingly touch the mezuzah as you enter or exit your house, I invite you to place one hand onto your heart. In this moment of such tremendous uncertainty and change and even chaos, may we continue to take moments to turn inward and find our steady ground. 4 times in this week's parsha, we hear Moses say to Joshua, "Chazak ve'amatz," be strong and courageous. So as we inch ever closer to Rosh Hashanah, may we place those words on our heart as well. Be strong, not perfect, and courageous. It takes courage to face our fears and our mistakes and our failures, and to imagine that we and others in our midst can transform and heal and grow. May our grounding give us the freedom to change. And may we keep returning again and again and again to steady ground. Return again, return again, return to the land of your soul. Return to who you are, return to what you are. Return to where you are, born and reborn and reborn. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Hashivenu. Thank you for your practice. I turn it back to Mark.
Thank you, Rabbi Jenny, for this beautiful session and for all you've offered us over the years. Let's seal the practice with an opportunity for those who are in mourning or observing a yard site, or if it's your custom to join in the mourner's Kaddish, to do so. You could put the name or names of those you're honoring today in the chat. As I mentioned at the outset, I'm remembering my grandmother, Bessie Wolf Margolius Pesha Vega Batuvia, on the occasion of her yard site, and invite others as well to share the names of those that are remembering. And if you're not reciting Kaddish, we ask please to stay present. Nitzavim, stay present and supportive, and to create this container of support for those who are in mourning. If you're joining me, please rise. We're in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time. And I'll follow Kaddish by sounding the shofar, as we've been doing throughout the month of Elul, today for the final time. Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah,
Shemei Rabbah,
Ad Yavrach,
Yivrach,
Yivrach,
Yivrach, Yamach
Hayikon, Yemechon, Yekon, Bet Yisrael,
Kaddish Machari, Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, Olam
Shmei Rabbah,
Barach, Yishlach, Yibhar, V'yaman, V'naseh, Hadar, V'yisrael, V'yadar, Shmei Rabbah, V'yadar, Kodar,
Hayikon, Birkat Yisrael, Shlama Rabba, Shemaya, Alim, Ko Yisrael, Amen. Aseh Shalom, Aseh Shalom, Ko Yisrael, All Yishmei,
Amen.
Shalom.
Amen.
Amen.
Call your straight table. Amen.
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 Friends, thanks so much for joining us today. If you're leaving us now, I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. We won't see you before Rosh Hashanah. We will be meeting on Monday as our usual time with Sarah Waxman, just a reminder, and then next week again on Thursday and Friday. Thanks so much to Natalie Rushinoff for holding our tech space today, for each of you for holding our space today, playing your role as a tent peg and supporting this beautiful community of practice, especially at a time when we all need it so badly. And huge thanks to our teacher today, Rabbi Jenny Solomon, for bringing us out this week and helping us find a place of stability as we head into Shabbat together. Oops, the original sound. There we go. Sorry about that. Not so mindful. Okay, so putting in, once again, for those who are interested, the link for those who are interested in the second day Rosh Hashanah mindfulness service at B'nai Jeshurun in New York. It starts at 9:00 a.m. Eastern time. Somehow we have a Machzor that has about 5 pages, but the service is 3.5 hours. So a lot of silence, a lot of beautiful music, and a lot of beautiful kavanot with Rabbi Shuli Passow and Dave Mintz. And it's an unbelievable blessing for me to be part of that. All right, and welcome your reflections on the teaching today. We welcome your questions. Rabbi Jenny, if you'd like to ask a question, as always, please write in the chat question, all in caps, and I will keep an eye out, try to work your question in. Well, that was darn. I know we don't ask for perfection or where you ended there. We're not expected to be perfect, but that was perfect. Jenny, that was just great.
Thank you.
And I am a bit of a geek about Hebrew etymology and mindfulness. So earlier this week on Wednesday, Cantor Kareth focused on Hayom, and today you focused on Nitzavim. Both words that are on Wednesday I said it would be really great just to have a simple glossary of some Hebrew terms. You don't even have to know a lot of Hebrew, but you could have a whole glossary of Hebrew terms, including Hineni, Hayom, and today let's add Nitzavim, which are Hebrew words, the roots of which really express so much of what in contemporary mindfulness, which sounds like, 21st century adaptation of Buddhist, Eastern, but the concepts are all there in our tradition. And Nitzavim especially, maybe I have an affinity for it because one of my kids' bar mitzvah parshas. It connotes so much beyond standing, so I want to just stay with that for a little bit. It is used a lot in the Tanakh, and like you said, it's more than standing. The word standing is used sometimes, but sometimes this verb is used. And I'm thinking especially about, since we're coming up in the high holidays, when Moses is negotiating with God after the golden calf, and God says, well, you can't see my face, but I'll make my goodness pass before you, and then reveals the 13 attributes of mercy and compassion, which will be our mantra on Yom Kippur. God says to Moses, Nitzavta al Hatzor, I station yourself on the rock. So something, the clearest moment of revelation of the Torah, where Moses says to God, let me have it. Let me know the truth. What are you really all about? And God says, well, you can't really handle the whole truth, but this is what I'll tell you. Shh, I'm totally forgiving. I'm totally compassionate. I'm endlessly patient. Um, all of that comes through because Moses is nitzav, is that it's nitzav, stationed on, on the rock, on something firm. So I just I'm just like reflecting back to you,
Oh,
what I heard. And even the word station, which is a weird word in English, like station yourself over there, but to think about of each of ourselves as having a station, that when we come together to practice, that everybody's okay, everyone take your station now, right?
yeah.
Everyone has their place and fully occupy your place.
Hmm.
Anyway, all this is flowing because of your beautiful teaching.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh, it's so beautiful. Thank you for bringing us into that moment. It's so moving all over again. Like God saying, let me let you in on a secret. I'm just love. I'm just
Right,
pure love and
right.
compassion. And it sounds like that sounds so great, but actually it can be hard to take that in
Right.
sometimes.
Well, there's other, this is the so-called Old Testament wrathful, judgmental God talking, right?
Right.
And we have many other instances where you say like, hey, but even Moses says to God later, hey, remember you told me
Yeah.
that you're so, when once again God says, stand back, I'll destroy the people and we'll start over with you. And Moses says, what, you can't do that. You're forgiving. Remember, you told me that.
Right. And that's why I love this idea of standing at attention and standing
Mm,
in such a way that we're paying attention.
hmm
So that when we experience other kind of moments where we might uh,
mm,
lose ourselves or lose that quality of connection with the divine, we can remember or remind
hmm
God or remind ourselves,
hmm
hey, I was there. I know something else to be true.
hmm Well, yes, that's true. And it is hard. I mean, that is one of the central challenges, I think, for us is, at least for me, I'll speak for myself, that, it's like, yeah, it'd be nice to think that, but is that really true? Or is that really letting myself off the hook or, but do want to take this question from Mindy, which, you know, calls for an answer. How do you reconcile saying this parsha includes everyone, but seems to me, to Mindy, that it is not to include women?
Mm,
How inclusive is this?
hmm. Well, um, this might be a moment to remember that there's sort of black fire and white fire when it comes to the
Mm-hmm.
Torah. We have the
Mm-hmm.
letters on the scroll, and of course, each letter is sacred and necessary and renders it complete, but not without the white space around it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, to me, that white space, of course, it reminds us of the oral tradition, but it also reminds us of our own imagination and our own voice that and our own opinions that we add to the black letters on the parchment. And so when I meet those moments, and I have my grounding, I like to imagine that my additions, which in the form of white space, help the
Mm-hmm.
Torah become even more complete.
I like that. I like that. Um, yeah, it's interesting because Moses seems to go to great lengths here, right? To be inclusive. So like regardless of social economic status, and then of course it's extended beyond like this is the Jewish people throughout time, which is
Yeah.
another thing I actually wanted to bring in, right? Is
Yes.
that, and this came up yesterday with Sabrina Sojourner too, about ancestral wisdom.
Mhm.
And so there's something about when we take our position, take our station. I was also thinking about like, so often people say like, teachers will say, take your position, adopt a stance, a position of
Mhm.
dignity, right?
Mhm.
Erect and alert,
Mhm.
nitzavim, basically, right?
Yep.
Just say
Exactly.
nitzavim.
Yep.
Um, but in addition to that, you're not alone. You have within you all your ancestors, like literally in your DNA, right, are embedded in you, in your body. You're not alone. You are transcendent in time, and maybe going forward as well. But there's that dimension also, I think, which I don't usually think of. I don't, usually think it's just me. I'm here by myself here. But to have that moment, and I guess I'm thinking about it because it's my grandmother's yard site who I never met, and looking at, I remembered to light the yard site candle, which I don't always remember. I don't have any live memories. I never met her. And I'm thinking about, I just was thinking about, well, she lived a life, and she had many days, and she gave my father breakfast, and all these things that I don't know about. And all of that goes into who I am. It's just,
Yeah.
I feel her presence and aliveness in me with somebody I never met. And of course, not to mention all the others going further back, right? So there's something very powerful in terms of mindfulness practice, of sitting there and feeling like not alone. And what you ended with, that Moses says to Joshua 4 times, Chazak v'yam etzlebecha, which of course we also have in Psalm 27, the Psalm for,
Yeah. For
right,
Ellen.
ends was that for Elul,
Yes.
is that really helping me thinking about that as I have moments of despair about state of democracy, state of the Jewish people, what's happening in Israel and Gaza, etc. Really helps to have awareness of that connection through time too.
Yeah. I'm so touched by that, and believe that that's true. And I'm just gonna extend that to say, we think about it in terms of our ancestral connection, but so too to imagine that in our standing, and we can't possibly know, but in our standing here with our values, with our intentions, with our the tshuva work that we're trying to embody, we will also impact generations to come in ways we can't possibly understand. But I find that just really hopeful and inspiring, and encouraging. It is actually encouraging to me that
Yeah.
we're all here. And there's something about who we are and who we're becoming that will be important for the people who come after us.
Thinking about the show in relation to what you just said, I'm thinking about the shofar and the different functions of the shofar that we've been through, also with the shofar project and throughout Elul, that there's the sort of primary sense of being called to attention, right? It's avim, like it's but then what you just said about, because we have shofar wrote, one of the themes really is redemptive. Really, it's the shofar as a call to act towards redemption, and following that arc of wakefulness, awe, remembering, intergenerational connection, and action that can change the course in the year ahead. So powerful, really.
Beautiful.
Well, Jenny, great as always. Thank you so much. And I know Fridays congregational rabbis don't have much to do, so I'm glad we were able to occupy you today, give you something to do. Wish you a lot of, speaking of about Ometz Lev and Chizuk, wish you a lot of that for Shabbat and Yamim Noraim, and shepherding your very fortunate, very blessed Beth Meyer community. And shout out to any Beth Meyer folks who are here today. Thanks for joining us. And
Amen. Amen. And to you and to everyone gathered here, just sending the chizuk, the strength and the courage right back.
amen. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, everyone. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
See you back here on
shalom.
Monday.